Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite rock and metal concert experiences. Coming in at number 10, I'm going to go with when I saw George Thorogood and the Destroyers live in September 2021. Now, George Thorogood, in my opinion, is one of the all-time best rock guitarists, wickedly underrated as far as I'm concerned, and still super talented to this day. But for me, the significance of this show, what makes it, my number 10 here on this list, which secures a spot on the countdown, is because this was the first concert I went to after the COVID pandemic. A lot of bands were not touring in 2020 and through the middle of 2021 because it just wasn't safe, right? So the great part about the tail end of 2021 was that a lot of bands were back out on the road for the first time in about a year and a half. So for me, this is the first concert I had seen since 2019. It was great to get back into a live setting and see a concert for the first time in a long time. So that was great. And like I said before, George Thorogood, a fantastic guitarist who put together a really killer show. Coming in at number 9, we have the Who Hits Back tour from May 26th, 2022. My first and only time seeing the Who live up to this point, and I was very excited. They're one of the best classic rock bands of all time. Although the two of their classic lineup members are no longer with us, right? John Entwistle and Keith Moon, no longer part of the band. To see Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend live was really fantastic. And I didn't go into the show, admittedly, with high expectations because these bands are older now. But I still think it was a fantastic show and definitely did blow my expectations out of the water. I think Pete Townsend is still an excellent live musician and really the lifeblood of that band in a live sense as far as I'm concerned. They performed with an orchestra as well, so great to see them, and in an arena like Madison Square Garden was just a really awesome experience for me. It might be the only time I see The Who because, you never know with these bands how many tours they have left, but really a great show that I, wasn't expecting to be as good as it was. Coming in at number 8, we have the triple bill of Anthrax, Exodus, and Black Label Society live on January 31st, 2023. The first concert I saw this year. Thrash metal madness here with Anthrax and Exodus on the bill. We actually showed up a couple minutes late, and so we were a few minutes late into the Exodus set. They kicked off the night, but great show by Exodus. I got to see a really fantastic set by them, doing some great stuff from their more recent albums and classics as well from Bonded by Blood. So that was great. Shout out to Tom Hunting on the drums, great friend of the channel who was fantastic live. And even though Black Label Society aren't one of my favorite bands, I thought they really killed it as well. And Anthrax closed things out. Great set list by them. A really fun show, and I was really happy to have finally gotten to see Anthrax and Exodus, two of my favorite thrash metal bands, live. Even though I'm not the biggest Black Label Society fan, this triple bill was amazing with Anthrax headlining the show. I think their set list was fantastic, and the band sounded as good as ever, featuring the return of Charlie Benanti on the drums, who had been off the road after having hand surgery, so it was a great, unexpected surprise to see Charlie back so soon. Number 7, let's go with the Rolling Stones live from MetLife Stadium in 2019. This was my first time seeing the Stones, up to this point the only time, but I'd love to see them again, live. But they're one of those bands that if you have the opportunity to see them live, you have to go see them, especially now. You never know when these bands are going to hang things up, but the Stones did a fantastic set. One of the loudest concerts I've ever been to be honest with you, was live at MetLife in 2019, but Mick Jagger sounded fantastic. I believe the show was actually pushed back a few months because Mick Jagger had to have some kind of a procedure or something, so the show got pushed back to the summer of 2019. One of my favorite concerts that I saw in 2019, and I saw quite a few, but really fun show in my opinion. And again, Mick Jagger was fantastic there, right? Keith Richards, great stuff, and for my money, the Stones, still a great live band even into their older age. This was my view for the show, which I didn't know at the time would be my first and only opportunity to see the band live with Charlie Watts on drums before his passing a couple of years ago. At number 6, we have Judas Priest live 2022 on their 50th anniversary tour. Now, I had never seen Priest before, but judging from clips that I'd seen online from their previous tour, the Firepower tour, my expectations were not as high as I would have liked going in, because Rob Halford's vocals had, seemingly diminished a bit, but I was blown away by the performance here by Priest on this tour. It was incredible. Rob Halford sounded fantastic, the best he's sounded in years. Maybe, having a couple of years off, due to the pandemic and no touring, definitely did aid his voice, and maybe allowed him to rest up his voice and come back stronger than ever. I'm not really sure, but he sounded incredible. They did a killer set list spanning, all 50 years of the band, so I thought that was really cool, and Queensryche opened for them as well. They had a great set, so all in all, just a fantastic night in Newark in 2022. Seeing Judas Priest live at the Prudential Center, just a really fantastic set, better than I had expected. Breaking into the top 5 here, let's go with Every Time I've Seen Alice Cooper live. Now, Alice Cooper is, I'd say I've seen him more than I've seen any other musician. musician. It must have been about 5 or 6 times by now. He's always touring, right? I believe he's on 4 separate tours this year between the Too Close for Comfort tour, the Hollywood Vampires tour. I believe he's going to be touring with Def Leppard and Motley Crue, and then he's going on tour, the Freaks on Parade tour with Ministry and Rob Zombie. So a very busy guy this year. Also with an album coming out this August, which is very exciting. But bottom line, Alice Cooper is always on the road, always touring. So whenever you have the opportunity to see Cooper, definitely jump on that. And for me, I've seen him live, like I said, more than any other band. Always an incredible show. So much fun to see. The stage show never gets old. He's just one of the all-time best showmen in rock history as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, I would give a particular time in which I saw him, but to be honest, every show is fantastic. And you know, every single time I see Alice Cooper live, I always leave, you know, having just so much fun and saying, you know, man, that was an awesome show. Long story short, Alice Cooper is one of the greatest of all time, and if you've ever seen him live in concert, you know how much fun an Alice Cooper show truly is, and, you know, truthfully, I think after Alice Cooper is done, there'll be nobody able to take his place. For number 4, we go to the show that made me an Accept fan. That's live with Udo Dirkschneider in 2018 in New York City. I believe it was in February. Fantastic show. Udo was on this tour here, his Back to the Roots tour. He was so-called retiring a lot of Classic Accept songs. He didn't end up retiring them, but it was still great to hear a Classic Accept set list here by Udo. And it was the show that really introduced me to the band properly. You know, I heard Accept in the past, but hearing the songs live definitely brought new life to them, in my opinion. And Udo, his voice does not age. Still an incredible live musician, great vocalist, right? Has a killer band behind him, so that was awesome. It was a really fun night, and yeah, this is what really got me into Accept and got the ball rolling. So for me, I love Udo, one of my all-time favorite metal vocalists, and you know, I got to see him live, and would love to see him again live if he does come back to North America. Not sure if he plans to. I know he has another album coming out called Touchdown this summer, which is pretty exciting. But you know, Udo was always making new music, so you know, he's constantly releasing albums, things like that. So be very exciting if Udo does come back to the States here, and I absolutely love to see him live once again. But in my experience, seeing Udo Dirkschneider live, just a great show, really heavy stuff, and his band is fantastic as well. Like I said before, this is the concert that made me an Accept fan, but more memorable for me was the meet and greet beforehand, where I got to meet Udo and his band, and the meet and greet itself was really poorly organized, in my opinion, but I thought Udo and the band could not have been cooler, and I got this awesome picture as well with the man himself. Moving into the top 3, this is where things get really cool. Meeting Adrian Smith and Nico McBrain backstage at an Iron Maiden show in Brooklyn, New York, 2017, on the Book of Souls tour. That was my first Iron Maiden concert. I was, you know, just becoming a Maiden fan with the Book of Souls album coming out. I was in my infancy as a Maiden fan, but was just over the moon to be able to, you know, meet two members of the band at, you know, such a young age. I was really, really happy, you know, to be able to be backstage to begin with, right? So that was so awesome to me. And you know, Nico, fantastic, you know, drummer, of course. Adrian Smith, part of the lifeblood of Iron Maiden. So two absolute crucial key members of that group. To have the opportunity to meet them was just so awesome backstage. And of course, Nico got mobbed at first, you know, when he first came backstage by all the Maiden fans who were back there. But I got a picture with him as well. So really, really cool, and very happy to be able to say that I met Adrian Smith and Nico McBrain. And of course, Iron Maiden, great live concert, always will be, and it blew me away, that concert. The setlist for the Book of Souls tour was absolutely amazing as well. So for me, one of the reasons why the Book of Souls is such a sentimental album to me, it was my first as a Maiden fan, and seeing them live on that tour with this great backstage experience was just kind of surreal. The Adrian Smith picture that you guys are seeing is actually an interesting story behind it, because I actually had to sneak past security to meet him, and he couldn't have been cooler about the whole thing. You know, the stuff we get away with when we're younger, right? This is actually my backstage pass here for the Book of Souls tour as well, going backstage here in Brooklyn. Just a really, really surreal, like I said, right? Fantastic to go backstage. Something I'll always remember, and one of my all-time favorite concert memories. So here's the pass here. Really cool, and just such a great night, all in all. One of the best nights of my life, especially up to that point. So really thrilled with how that night panned out. Here's the pass, like I said. It's seen better days, right? It's a little flimsy now. It's not, you know, it doesn't stick anymore to my shirt, but nonetheless, awesome night here, and here's the pass that got me backstage. Here's the Book of Souls, a tour book that I picked up at this show, right? Really awesome. Maiden always have great tour books, right? So you look at some of the pictures here. Here's a great gallery of some shots from the tour. So that was really cool. Was very happy to pick this up. I guess you could say I'm a collector of tour books from, you know, some of my favorite bands, but was really happy to pick this up at the show. Great tour, awesome tour book as well. Some really cool pictures in here that, you know, I still look at from time to time. Some great memories. Number 2, seeing ACDC live at MetLife Stadium for my birthday on the Rocker Bus tour. This is right around the time when I was just getting into rock and metal, and ACDC were that gateway band for me. You know, they were my first, rock and metal band that I really took an interest in, and it really did hook me on rock and metal. So they were my favorite band at the time. I was, obsessed with the band. So I got the opportunity to see them live on my birthday on the Rocker Bus Tour. It was an incredible concert, right? Really great stuff. And, as a younger kid at the time, it blew my mind. But even cooler than that, I got to go backstage after the show. I can show you guys here my backstage pass. It says Brian. The initials here are Brian Johnson. It was approved by Brian Johnson to go backstage. It also says New York here, right? So that's really cool. Go backstage, and I got this signed, Brian Johnson. It says "Keep Rockin' John," Brian Johnson, ACDC. Awesome moment here for me. I'll let you guys check out the CD one more time. Not only did I see ACDC, who were my favorite band at the time, on my birthday, but then to go backstage and get that signed by Brian Johnson, absolutely unbelievable moment for me, and something I'll never forget. Especially at the time, they were my favorite band, and I was a little kid at the time and was just blown away with the entire experience. Some more cool stuff from the ACDC show. Picked up this tour book here. It was the Rocker Bus Tour. Looking, here's a great shot of the band. One of my favorite pictures of this lineup here from the Rocker Bus Tour. That's really cool. And I also picked up this really killer t-shirt as well from MetLife Stadium. It says, "New Jersey ain't a bad place to be." I'll let you guys check this out. I'll get out of the shot. Really cool. Just an amazing night, and really happy to have the tour book, the autographs, the backstage pass, the shirt, all of it. Just awesome stuff. Something I'll never forget. And finally, coming in at number 1, my favorite concert experience has got to be meeting Steve Harris backstage at an Iron Maiden show in Hartford, Connecticut in 2019. Long story short, this was the greatest night of my life. Seriously. So this was on the Legacy of the Beast tour. Incredible tour, right? I was, super thrilled to see the band once again. I was once again backstage. Got to meet Steve Harris, I'll talk about in a little bit. But the setlist was amazing. The concert was fantastic. Almost caught a drumstick by Nico, but I dropped it. And then it was just like a mob scene, so I wasn't going to bother to try and, get in the middle of that fight for the drumstick. But I almost caught it. If I would use 2 hands, I would have caught it. But really an amazing set. Had a great view as well. The band were fantastic here. And I'll always be a little bit partial to that leg of Legacy of the Beast, because I did see them a couple times on that particular leg of the tour, and love the set list, and of course have these great memories of going backstage. So, with that said, like I said before, this was really, to this day, the greatest day of my life. Before the show, I once again found myself backstage at an Iron Maiden concert and got to meet Steve Harris, as well as stand about 20 feet from Bruce Dickinson before he left. So, didn't get to meet Bruce, but I met Steve Harris, which was just an amazing moment, right? Steve was super quiet, posed for photos, though, and signed a bunch of stuff for me as well. And these were our seats for the concert. We're even closer, as this picture suggests, and I had an amazing view for the show. Here's the tour book here for Legacy of the Beast, and I did get Steve Harris to sign it. I'm not sure if you guys can see the signature here. I'll try to zoom in. It's right here. So he signed in black marker, which I wish he wouldn't have, but that's how, that's where he signed it. That's how he signed it. In hindsight, probably should have had a silver pen with me. Would have looked a lot better, but to have a Steve Harris autograph in any capacity is not too shabby as far as I'm concerned. But, I mean, I met Steve Harris, and for me, that was just a huge moment, one that I'll never forget for sure. So that wraps up this video counting down my top 10 concert experiences so far, and, it's been a while since I did one of these show and tell videos, so I think it's really cool that I got to share some of this stuff with you guys, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please let me know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, turn on the bell for notifications so you never miss a new upload, and let me know down in the comment section below what are some of your favorite rock and metal concert experiences. I want to hear from you. Let me know all that good stuff in the comments. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.